Plovdiv is a city where centuries sit side by side, perched among the same hills and still sharing the same streets. It was once home to the ancient Thracians, carved with Roman stones, shaped by Ottoman arches, and today Bulgarian at its core. In this series with Kurukavagi Mehmet Efendi, we are tracing the coffee trail as it left Turkey and crossed west into the Balkans. And Plovdiv, Europe's oldest city, has definitely seen its fair share of empires rise, borders shifting, but the coffee always kept flowing, at least for the last few hundred years. So let's go give it a taste at the Jumaya Mosque Cafe. When the Ottomans arrived in the 14th century, they didn't just build mosques and markets, they brought coffee. All right, it's a beautiful day, so let's go sip on this outside. Oh wow, I did not expect that. This is not water. This is like a sweet rose water. Okay, and it's just beautiful to be here in front of or below the Jumaya Mosque. So the mosque, as you can see here, has been around since 1364. This mosque was built by the Ottomans when they first arrived in Plovdiv, so very early on in the Ottoman Empire. Now the cafe itself, that's another story. They say that it's been around for more than 60 years. Maybe they had other Ottoman establishments here where they would drink coffee and have some of these typical Turkish sweets, baklava. When it's made well, it's one of the best things with Turkish coffee. Ashure has some sort of grain, barley, wheat, some legumes like beans and maybe even chickpeas, figs, raisins, some nuts. It dates back to actually Noah's Ark, right? So when Noah's Ark landed on Mount Ararat, apparently they put together this big dish of just things that they found along the way. It reminds me of oatmeal, some sort of oatmeal that I might make in the morning. But it's really nice. It's sweet enough on its own. Great pairing to just sit back and just sip a Turkish coffee. What else can you ask for? During the Ottoman times, Plovdiv was known as Filibe, which is a variant of the original Philippopolis, which was given by Philip II of Macedon, father of Alexander the Great, when he conquered the Thracians. It's very peaceful here in Cariatgrad, or Old Town, as it would be in English. Of course, there's these parks with beautiful layering. It's very diverse in its altitude. So we're walking up and down these cobblestone streets and just exploring the different eras that would have been here, from the Roman to the Ottoman, and then of course the Bulgarian revival period. And some of the most beautiful remnants of Ottoman architecture are these hillside homes. They were based with stone and held together with sturdy wood frames. Houses like the Hindlian Mansion reflect the classic Hayat style. These covered outdoor spaces were truly meant for living. Filibe remains the name in Turkish, and I wanted to take a quick visit back to the very beginning, and for that, we needed to seek higher ground. So now, going back even further, we find ourselves on Nöbet Tepe, which means the Watch Hill in Turkish. Now, I'm not a historian, and I know this doesn't really have anything to do with coffee, but I just find it so interesting the amount of history and cultures and civilizations that lived on this hill. From the Neolithic period 6,000 years ago to the Thracians, this is the Iron Age, the Bronze Age, and then of course the Romans, the Byzantines, the Ottomans, and all the different peoples that were here. Nonetheless, beautiful views. Plovdiv was the European capital of culture in both 1999 and 2019, and strolling through the Kapana district, I can definitely see why. Kapana, meaning trap or labyrinth in Turkish, was established in the early Ottoman era, developed as a dense network of narrow winding streets, the cultural layering, artistic energy, and what you might call a living dialogue between history and modern life. Turn a corner and you might just turn back centuries. But it was time for another caffeinated sip, and pulling up to Dwell Coffee, I was ready for a more modern look into the local specialty coffee scene. Well, let's have a coffee.
Okay.
I would love a double espresso.
Our idea always have been to be specialty coffee because it's something relatively new. People start to get more interested what they're eating, what they're drinking. I don't drink coffee for the effects, let's say, of it, just for the taste.
I agree with you though. We're moving into that sort of new era where people are paying more attention to food, taste? What's the story behind it? You know, even you mentioning, hey, we're using this Peru from northern Peru, or we've got this yerga chefe from Ethiopia.
Coffee can taste different, you know? It's not necessary everything to taste the same.
So we had a few coffees. We passed by the old ruins, but after a couple of days of walking up and down these hills, I really needed to know what kind of hearty breakfast kept these locals going. All right, so we've been looking around town for the best banitsa, and we found this place, Bakery Art. Hopefully they have what we're looking for. I met the owner, Dimitri, and he gave me the inside slice on what this local cheesy pastry is all about. Have you always been doing the
Banitsas? Yeah. From the smaller sizes of this dough, you can make baklava.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, okay.
Same
And
dough.
Pretty much you can make lasagna. Usually we use a lot of eggs. You ground the cheese and you mix it with yogurt and eggs for the filling.
So do people eat this like with coffee in the morning for breakfast, or what's the culture around this?
The Bulgarian people drink coffee early in the morning. You already tried the buza?
No, I didn't try it.
You didn't try yet? Come on.
I was waiting to do it on.
I'm waiting for your opinion.
My reaction. This is boza, which is made. It's like a fermented.
It's fermented for the wheat, like the same wheat for the flour, and they leave it few to 3 days of the process to start inside.
Okay.
And it's got some kind of sour.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of the sourdough process.
Okay. Let's try. It reminds me of something, but I can't quite remember. Bran cereal, or like, you know, soaked in milk. I wonder if you could mix that with coffee and make like a nice shaken iced coffee drink. So what's in your opinion, what's the coffee culture like here? How's it changed since you were young?
Remember the 80s, deep communism? All of the rooms smells on coffee because the people was doing a coffee on the oven with this small, we call it a Cuban coffee bakers. After that, with the private business, after the 89, the communism fell, people start to make small coffee places. That was the first thing they start to do. So yeah, we are a coffee culture. We always been close to Turkey, and you know, in Turkey, even in the Ottoman Empire, they do coffee here on the sand. We are a very mixed up city. We have Jews, Muslims, and Orthodox Christians.
Yeah.
So everybody brings some from his culture here in Plovdiv. We're 6,000 years old one city, man.
There's a Bulgarian term here called alyak, a word adapted from Turkish and suggesting the concept of being idle yet not lazy. And well, with 6,000 years of continuous history, Plovdiv has certainly perfected the art of creativity and relaxation, a balance of hard work and leisure. A city of stories, one layered on the other, but all complementing the flavor and texture of the whole. Much like a sip of Turkish coffee. Join me next on a trip through Thessaloniki, where we explore another city with deep Ottoman roots and see how the Greeks put their own unique spin on the coffee we know and love.